All right. Happy Monday night, everybody. Welcome on into the home studios. Glad to be with you here on Good, Bad, and Ugly Monday recap in the weekend. Ton of Texas Tech stuff from basketball to baseball to softball. Perfect game to, oh, hey, not a perfect game. Anything and everything in between. We even fixed NASCAR racing at Daytona over the weekend. I am pretty much exhausted from everything we had to do. But it was worth it, and it's worth it to be able to hang out with you guys tonight. I know you've been on the website earlier, theraiderland.com. You got your GBUs ready to go. You know how that works. You recap the weekend with the stuff you liked, the good, the bad, and then there's stuff you just completely got to turn away from. So all of that and whatever else is on your mind, all the communications brought to you by United Supermarkets, Market Street. They are there for you on your way home, maybe when you're going to work. You got it. You can even do the online shopping and pick it up, all that cool stuff. All right, let's do it on a Monday, shall we? In three, in two. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt from theraiderland.com, parts unknown and otherwise. Happy to be here with you tonight. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza, Domino's.com. No better way to start the week than with some great pizza. Get the app, get the savings, get the cool coupons, pick up, delivery, you name it. The best thing you can do, though, leave a slice. Breakfast in the morning, cold pizza. I don't care how old you are, cold pizza still rocks. Also by Sideline Provisions, owned and operated by Great Red Raiders. The coolest apparel for you Texas Tech fans out there. Where can you find it? I got an itchy nose. Where can you find it in Lubbock? Quarter four. That's the old Cardinal Sports Center on South Loop 39 Slide Road. You can get it online. Go to quarter4.net. Click Raider Apparel, drop down Sideline Provisions. We link to it on our site at theraiderland.com. They're the best. They come with that cool, Guns Up logo and all the cool stuff. Man, I have really got something going on. Been needing to sneeze all day. Now we'll see if we can get through the show. All right, see it even above us, man. Check that out. Hold on. I'm a horrible meteorologist. Domino's Pizza, right there. New York style, rivaling my love for thin crust. Okay, so let's get your thoughts rolling in. You guys know what to do thanks to United Supermarkets. You can tell us the audio is good, the video is good, share it with your friends. And then let's start talking about the weekend, recap it with your own good, bad, and ugly version of events. What did you like? What impressed you the most? Hi there, JT Toppin. JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Week, Newcomer of the Week, human being playing basketball of the week. He obviously gets a good on that one. You throw a perfect game there in softball, you get a good on that. Bad. How about this for a bad? Old TJ Shannon. How about that? TJ Shannon Jr., former Red Raider, Illinois, retired his jersey Saturday. They hoisted it to the rafters, hanging upside down. That's not very good. You know, that's not very good. Then the ugly, I don't know. The ugly could be what is going on with NASCAR racing at Talladega and Daytona. The ugly could very well be what we're seeing transpire there on the track, which is not racing. It ain't entertaining, and we'll fix it for you tonight. So get your questions and comments in. Thanks to United Supermarket. Whether you're on Twitter X, and that's where we are at Ryan Hyatt Media, where you can get us on YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland YouTube channel, always free. You can get us on Facebook Live as well, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. All of our platforms are free all the time. Doesn't cost you a thing to get on. Now, Texas Tech basketball moves up a little bit, top 10, number 9 in the AP rankings. I think the biggest thing over the weekend is the NCAA told you, and they love to send messages when they do these releases, a month out on where the potential seedings are and everything else, that you're a protected seed. That's all I really wanted to see. 3-line, 4-line doesn't really matter. HoopsHD.com, pretty solid last 3, first 4. Bracketville, Dave Amon will have his bracket updated tomorrow. We may have to have Dave on tomorrow. I'm going to see if we can get Dave on the show tomorrow. The two best, Chad Sherwood and Dave Amon, are the best at bracket projections, and that's all we really care about right now. So that's the biggest thing right now with Tech basketball. And you beat the hell out of Oklahoma State, where you could have had a letdown after that. I'm going to say, if not emotional, probably emotionally draining, physically draining double overtime game at home. They're against Arizona State. After the Arizona game on the road, that could have been an easy letdown spot, and it wasn't. They blew the doors off them. Chris getting in on our Facebook live feed, and if you're not subscribed on Facebook, you ought to. We put all sorts of cool stuff on Facebook, just like our YouTube channel and everything else. Good U.S. beating Canada. Canada in hockey. Bad Daytona 500. Ugly football guy entering the chat for baseball and softball. Oh, good Lord, football guy. We'll get to football guy. Football guy. Baseball was rough on football guy this weekend. Obviously, baseball going 0-3 at number 6, North Carolina. Hey, football guy. And then softball, yeah. Yeah, they got beat by Texas, man. Although there was an interesting thing about softball, and that was where was Kennedy Sunday against Texas? Why did she not get the ball? I have questions. I'm intrigued by that because that's really the game you pay $1 million to the top player in college softball to pitch, right? That's the game you pay her to pitch, right? And I know they just seen her on Friday on Valentine's night, and it was a hell of a game. They didn't do much against her. I have questions. And we'll get to the Daytona. We'll get to Daytona. I've got it fixed. My NASCAR loving friends, I've got it fixed. We'll get your thoughts as well. So fire away, get your questions, comments in. Recap the weekend. I'll give you my thoughts on Tech baseball. If you didn't see Diamond Talk on Sunday or Saturday, they finished on Saturday. It was so weird. It was like the old Southwest Conference days, you know. I felt like we should have had baseball yesterday, but we didn't. We'll give you some of that. And then basketball, you name it. Gary, Jim Nantz giving Red Raiders a shout-out after the Oberg victory. Oberg, he did a great job. Obviously, now everybody knows Jim's history. University of Houston, well-versed in Southwest Conference lore and Texas Tech and golf. Understands where Oberg comes from, and I thought it was really cool, and he did because who was doing color on 18? Now I can't think who was doing color. So, he's talking about wearing the red and the black and kind of thinking, well, it might be an odd tribute to Tiger. And Jim Nantz is like, no, that's really Texas Tech. But here's the deal: if you're Oberg right now, that can be your Sunday deal. He couldn't wear red and black on Sunday at Torrey Pines. That's Tiger's deal. Don't do that. But you can go black with the red and white with the Adidas and some Texas Tech spin. I hope that's where this is going. And we said on Saturday, Oberg is the Patrick Mahomes of golf, but golf is such a high-income sport, such a high-income demo that financially Oberg could be just as important, if not even more, to Texas Tech going forward. And the people that he could bring into the fold for Texas Tech golf could have as big or bigger impact economically, financially, with the dollar bills as Patrick Mahomes. And he can do it a longer period of time. Mahomes, maybe 10 years. I know that sounds crazy. It feels like he just got in the league. Maybe 10 years. Then he's a retired guy. 10 years from now, Oberg could easily still be contending for and winning majors the way golf goes today. So huge, his second victory. Let's see, Chris getting in. Thanks to United Supermarkets chat line. There's a supermarket that puts their name on Texas Tech stuff. There's one in town that takes your money and puts their name on stuff downstate. You make the call. By the way, have you guys shared this? Have you put it out there? If you're on our YouTube channel, like Gary, have you liked it? Have you shared it? We need everybody to do that. And everybody who gets in, please, no matter where you watch, Twitter, Facebook, doesn't matter to me, YouTube, sign up on our YouTube page. Get us over 500 this week. I really want to get over 500 this week. That'll do some cool things for all of our great sponsors like Sideline Provisions, Domino's Pizza, United Supermarkets, Middleton and Son Realty, you name it. Jan, he has that Tech logo on the bag. It's a great look. It is. And this is a question I need to find out. I don't know. I don't know if Texas Tech pays for that to be on the back. I don't think they do, but if they are, fine, good money. We said for about 10, 12 years that the last thing that needed to happen for Greg Sands and Tech Golf, Tech Men's Golf, Tech Golf in general, men's and women's, somebody on the tour with that double T logo there on the leaderboard. And I mean, I was just like, hey, get me a guy who's playing on Sunday. Get me a guy making cuts. They're talking about him being out of Texas Tech, that you had done so many things. But the next leap for the program, they didn't have a course. They got a course, didn't even have a clubhouse. You had a good grill there, Jerry, but didn't have a clubhouse. The stair step thing on all of that was a guy on tour like Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Stanford, Arizona State, Duke. I mean, you do the rundown on all the schools. You have that now, and in spades. Well, you just went, you just leapt over the, hey, let's have a guy on the tour too. Hey, let's have a guy who arguably right now people are saying, if not number one, number two, number three in the conversation of best golfers on the planet right now. We'll take that. We'll work with that. That'll go good. Good, Bad, and Ugly. For those new, we started that in 1994 on the Williams and Hyatt Show, the radio show with me and Don Williams in Lubbock. And it's a great way to recap the weekend. Now, it's been copied. It's been utilized by others. And I didn't do it for a long time just because I kind of thought, all right, we retired it. And the hell with that. It's a great way to recap the weekend. So tell me something good from the weekend. Tell me something that impressed you. Like USA hockey. Throwing fist. 1 second in, 3 seconds in, 9 seconds in. Give me something bad from the weekend, that sports or non-sports. And then sometimes things are just so ugly, like the Daytona 500 for the most part, that you just have to look away. That's how the good, bad, and ugly works. Get in on the chat line. Hey, I know our Twitter people are out there. We always got a ton of folks on Twitter. You guys can get in as well. Just utilize that chat feature as you're working with us tonight. So as we go through tonight, we're bouncing around. All right, let me go real quick on Tech baseball. Basketball after that, Daytona after that, okay? And you get you can fire away your comments, anything you want. All right, so Texas Tech baseball, yes, 0-3. Oh my gosh, it's all over. Didn't hit well with runners in scoring position. 2 for 21, something. It was not a good number. The defense was leaky. Day one, doubleheader. Much better day two. So you had a 36-hour sample size, and people are trying to make all sorts of evaluations on this team, and same as it has been. Nothing's different. Football guy. Couldn't even get a win. You played the best team you're going to play all year on opening day and opening day +1. You played a very competitive, good game against them on day 2. Your pitching was good. Your pitching was let down. Certainly, Jack Siebert got let down. He threw 2 really good balls that should have been outs, 1 a double play for sure, and he got victimized on that. Your bullpen was good. You didn't walk a lot of people. You had 3 home runs. They didn't have any. And you played a really competitive game against the number 6 team in the country the next day at their place on opening day +1. I will take that result and go with it and feel like I learned more good things about this team. Now, again, clutch hitting wasn't great, wasn't good enough. You didn't get enough clutch hits. Was it the best pitching staff you'll face all year? Very well could be. Defense, leaky? Yeah. Leaky for sure on day 1, better on day 2. I mean, day 2, you send out a freshman for his first start, and it looked like a freshman getting his first start at North Carolina. Well, dude's got to pitch sometime. Get out there, man. You're not going to be around here long. So go out and get out there. I would rather see what I saw in 24 hours plus at North Carolina than any day, any opening series where you beat the hell out of Gardner Webb or Mercer or anybody else and you score 15, 16 runs every game. And then football guys going, this team's going to Omaha, dude. I will take this every single time, and I hope people are backing up Tim Tadlock for the scheduling. Now, here's the dangerous part. Football guy thinks you got a breather this week with Cal Irvine coming in. Check that. You don't. It's going to be not as hard as going to North Carolina by any stretch. This is a very good NCAA tournament team. Go get you 2 out of 3. Weather this weekend, I don't know. It could be 34 on Friday. It could be 40, 42. I wouldn't mind if they played a doubleheader Saturday in a single game on Sunday. The weather's going to be much better. I worry so much about arms this time of year. I know coaches would rather not play a doubleheader if possible. I get that. I understand it. But at the same time, I'd rather give it a go on that way. We'll see. We'll see what it does. It's going to be so freaking cold. It's going to be unbelievable. Chris says Perko was impressive on Saturday. Yeah, he was. It's a way to announce your presence with authority coming in and looking good. I think, again, most of the pen, go back and look. Walks, ball to strike ratio, strike to ball ratio, whatever you want to call it, was good. Nobody was walking the world other than your freshman starter on Saturday night. Okay, that's fine. Call me back in a week. I get it in those moments. Gary's on YouTube. You can follow us and subscribe and everything on YouTube. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Don't cost nothing. Please, everybody on Facebook, hey, subscribe on YouTube. Takes 5 seconds. Watch where you want to. Is Toppin playing his way to possible Big 12 MVP? Tech would have to finish at least second, I think, to be the Big 12 MVP. And he would have to have monster games again, not just against people like Oklahoma State and Arizona State. He's got to do it against Houston. He's got to do it against Kansas. He would have to do. I think for him to get it, Tech would have to win out. How about that? I think Tech would have to win out for him to do it. Him not playing. The worst thing about Big 12 MVP for him was not getting to play against Houston and Tech winning in an odd way. All right, so there's our thoughts on baseball. If you got questions, thoughts, comments on Tech baseball, if you have friends who are football guy, and football guy is the guy who overreacts to everything, because in football you do overreact to everything. You got 12 games, you freak out up and down. And football guy shows up in baseball, and he doesn't know that much. I mean, he played baseball a little bit, but he really didn't know that much. He doesn't know that much about college baseball, and doesn't get it. But he's passionate. Now, football guy, we love football guy because he's passionate, but football guy just bangs the drum. Now, last year, football guy, was coming back at the end of the year going, see, Hyatt, I told you week 1 they weren't going to be any good. Yeah, okay, whatever. Knock yourself out. But that's who football guy is. Football guy watched Tech softball, and they got, run ruled yesterday by Tech. They're not going to make the NCAA tournament now. They're not going to make the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to make the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to probably get in the tournament. They're probably going to get in the tournament. But that's who football guy is when it comes to college baseball. He knows just enough to be dangerous. But we love him because his overreactions give us great conversations. You guys sharing this right now? You putting it out there on Twitter, YouTube, everything else. Where's my Twitter people? We'll get 300, 400, people on Twitter. No, well, get your questions, comments, and do what you want to do. Let's see. Where are we? Where are we going next? Basketball? One quick thing on basketball. And you're going to see this because where Texas Tech is, and we get to talk about the S curve and where Tech is on a seed line versus other teams on a seed line and how they could funnel into each other, and not necessarily first round games, but it's second round games where the NCAA loves to create drama, big drama. They want drama. Without me saying it, you guys tell me what would be the biggest drama that the NCAA could artificially construct through the bracket for a second round matchup for Texas Tech. What do you think that would be? I mean, my goodness, which team could they have Texas Tech legitimately that they could legitimately say, well, the bracket fell this way, even though we know it never does. And I've already got at least one site picking up on it that I trust. And we'll see if the other one is doing it tomorrow. But we all know how it works, right? We all understand it. The NCAA tournament is a TV show. You guys know that, right? It's a TV show. The next month is a TV show for CBS and TBA and all that. It's a TV show. The bracket reveal is a TV show. Then they put on a TV show for the month of March, and people watch, and advertisers pay a bunch of money, and they put on a TV show, and they make a lot of money. Never forget that. All right, come on, you guys. Somebody's got to know where this is going, right? Where you're going to see the matchup. Mike on Facebook, close but no cigar. In fact, Texas may not even make the tournament. It's entirely possible. They're going to be flirting with the bubble. In fact, Rodney Terry's in big trouble. Meanwhile, Timbo nails it. Ole Miss. That's going to be your popular second round potential matchup. He gets there first. Chris on Facebook, Texas or Ole Miss. David Collier, K-Mac 28 sports director. Old Texas ain't it. Nope, but Ole Miss is. And then either UT or Beard School, yeah. And then Mike, quickly, Ole Miss. O-L-E, not old, Ole. William Faulkner, everybody, Ole Miss. Yeah, that's going to be the popular over the next week or two projections. That where Ole Miss is trending and where Tech is trending, that they could create that second round matchup. And that's what they do for a TV show. Yeah, Alan, right there, they're fading. They're going to be a 7 seed. Yeah. Beard fatigue is setting in. We used to call it night fatigue back in the day. Beard fatigue is setting in on this team. Either that or they overachieved. I'm going to go back. Everybody say hi to David Collier, K-Mac 28 sports director, lover of all things Raiderland. And I don't know that he really loves Raiderland, but, he gets done. He gets off the set. He sits there and goes, oh, Raiderland, they're promoting Domino's Pizza. Pizza sounds good. I could bring pizza home. My son likes pizza, And Collier's lucky enough. Your son, you still got a son there at the house, and that's a great excuse for bringing home food you want. That's a great excuse. I don't have that anymore. But you still have the, well, I thought he'd like it. Oh, he didn't want to eat it? Okay, well, I'll eat it. Everybody say hi. So, yeah, glad to have you along. All right. I said we would fix NASCAR for Daytona 500 in Talladega. It won't take long. And if any of our hardcore NASCAR friends and fans are still with us tonight, hey, David, aren't you glad you guys weren't televising NASCAR yesterday or anything? That would have gone to like 1 a.m. the way stuff works, for you guys and everything. If you're late local news. All right, so here's the deal. All right, one more basketball then into Daytona. Ole Miss as a basketball program is a conundrum. Always felt like they should be better than they have been. I haven't. Why would they be? They never have been. Why would they be? They don't have money. They don't really have much of anything. Their facilities are pretty cut rate. I've been to Oxford, Mississippi. No, there's actually nothing about it that makes me think it should have been better than it's been over the years at all. 100%. So NASCAR has a problem. NASCAR has a lot of problems. Where do you want me to start, my NASCAR friends, and those of you who love NASCAR? We'll focus it in as much as we can on what transpired yesterday, why it transpired, and has gone on a couple of years. So this what are we on? Gen 7, Gen 8.1 car is horrible on the big super speedways at Daytona and Talladega. We used to call them restrictor plate tracks. That's when we had a carburetor. You'd put a plate in, it would artificially limit the amount of airflow into the engine, thus reducing RPMs and speed, and it took it down from 220 to around, buck 90 or whatever. With EFI, obviously, this is computer limited. You have a throttle control box and everything else. I'm not going to get into it, but we still limit everybody to the same amount of horsepower generated. Everybody runs the same. Everybody runs the same. Field is compressed, 41 cars, and nobody can move around. Then we have what's called this aero dependency. We want it to be aerodynamically sound because that makes it go fast. And we've created things on the cars also that we try to keep them stuck down to the track so they don't go flying up in the air like an airplane. Good to a point. Bad when it comes to actually racing, moving around, passing. So now we're just all wadded up at 190 miles an hour, and somebody sneezes and everybody catches the flu, and we have wrecks. So the Daytona 500 and Talladega, to an extent, have three problems, in my opinion: time, wrecks, racing. The race takes far too long because most of it doesn't matter. There's no racing. There's no strategy. You just ride around for a while and hope you're around at the end and avoid the wrecks. That's not entertaining. So you're asking me now, and then yesterday, of course, with the rain delays, because what does it do in Daytona? This time of year, it rains in the afternoon. That's why they used to start the Daytona at 11 a.m. Anyhow, first thing I would do with the Daytona 500 and even Talladega is I would shorten it. The Daytona 500, I don't care what you can call it the Daytona 500. I mean, how many teams do we have in the Big 12? Sports is all about nothing makes sense name-wise. Call it the Daytona 500, but shorten it to a window of about 2.5 hours, because I don't want to watch more than 2.5 hours of crap that only matters in the last 20 laps. Second thing, we got to shorten it up. Then the next thing we got to do is we got to slow it down. You will not be able to tell the difference at cars going 190 miles an hour or 175 miles an hour in person or on TV. If they didn't show you the speed, you wouldn't know. I know, because I've watched cars go around a track at 144 miles an hour and 200 miles an hour. You can't tell. We got to get rid of aero and go back to mechanical grip. What does that mean? It means that you put more of the car into the driver's hand and you slow it down. That it is not aero dependent on coefficient drag to be able to move around and pass. And now we can't even pass. That it goes back to the old style. Now we put all the safety flaps and everything else up there. We don't want the old style where we didn't have any aero and you had so much air under the car that it was lifting off and turning it into an airplane. We can do both. But we want mechanical grip. We've got to slow it down to do mechanical grip. Now we can race. Now we can pass. Cars may string out. You won't have huge packs. That's good. That means if somebody wrecks, maybe one or two guys wreck, not 10 or 12 guys. So you got to shorten it up. You got to slow it down. Mechanical grip is the way to go on the speedways. Slower speeds. Now, how do we do that with the EFI? I've seen a lot of different theories over the last several years, including, you can go to V6, you can go to, less horsepower, RPM generation, anything else. But I think a lot of it is just we're going to have a separate car construction at Daytona and at Talladega. And hopefully, thank God, it might look like the old cars of the early 2000s. And even in the late 90s, they were complaining about where it was going. You can give me the car construction I ain't lying. Of the 80s and 90s with safety features, roof flaps, and everything else that'll put it back down on the ground. But if we keep doing what we're doing, Ryan Preece, uh, it's amazing it didn't turn out worse. You know? So there you go. That's how we fix it on the super speedways. Now, that gets us to Atlanta this week. The racing will be better, the race will be better, but we still have problems with these cars. And that's the problem with NASCAR right now is the racing. It's just not good. Your questions or comments before we get out of here. Did Collier record the tease for 10, or did he have an intern do it for him? Only David Collier can answer that question. Alan, does NASCAR have any rivalries or heels anymore? Yeah, Burt Myers versus Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I never really followed the sport, but knew that Jeff Gordon, pretty bad boy Dale Jr. was a. That's funny. That's another problem. The drivers are just really nice, really, really nice, and corporate controlled. And that's been going on for really almost 15, 20 years now. That more and more and more, they didn't want the drivers to have any personality. There are a few rivalries, but nothing along the lines of what we saw in the 80s and 90s and, bad guy, and like wrestling, he said heels. That's a wrestling term. And you need that. It's hard to have rivalries when you don't have good racing. You don't have a Tony Stewart to shake things up. No. Tony Stewart don't live here anymore. It's a shame. I miss the old driver draft. It was a lot of fun back in the day. Hard to believe. Let's see, we started that in about maybe 02, 03, right in through there, somewhere in through there. Golly, hard to believe. Racing today, for me, is like a lot of sports where, one, it's hard to relate to 25-year-olds. You don't have, and as you guys get older, you'll understand this. You don't have sports heroes that are half your age. You just don't. You enjoy what they do. You can be a fan of somebody, but everybody I relate to is Tony Stewart's age or Clint Boyer or Kevin Harvick or whatever, that there's nobody in the sport of NASCAR that I can relate to. Going to the track and doing interviews and being in the garage, they're kids. It's hard for that. So you have to find different ways to enjoy it. And now that the racing is just so bad, it just leaves you cold. And don't anybody try to tell you that F1 is better. F1 racing is worse than it's worse than NASCAR these days. Alan, I don't miss the driver draft as a producer. The phone system went down in the middle of a draft, and needless to say, I had to go into hiding. It was pretty crazy back in the day. See, and for folks who are just joining the show, I used to do live radio for, I don't know, 26, 27 years of different shows. Anyhow, and we had this thing called call-ins. People actually called the radio station on a call-in show, and we'd do stuff. And some nights it would, get crazy. And Alan was one of our producers at one time, at a much younger age, a young, tender age. And probably thrown in there by whether it was F. Scott or Chad or whoever else who didn't want to do the driver draft that day. And suddenly they had a mysterious reason for not being there. And Alan had to do the Friday. Not only did you have Friday driver draft, you had the Friday night trifecta and all sorts of stuff. And Fridays could be kind of crazy. I don't remember the last time I heard a sports call-in show where I heard somebody pick up the phone and call in. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or otherwise. I'm just saying it just fascinates me. I mean, we don't even call them call-in shows anymore, right? Nobody calls in. I mean, you got, Jimmy Sandwiches on one line and Eddie Milkshake on the other line, text line, and you get all these guys that just do, you got Pig Renter, on the text line, and I didn't get it. Even the last, couple of years of me and Rob Bro doing our show there on Talk 103.9 FM in Lubbock, same type deal. Just sitting there, like reading text, man. All right, that's a good text. That's a good one. Can't read that. Just call your build out. I was trying to draw him to the top of the surface there with the text line names. You never know, though. All right, we will be back with you in the morning. Tuesday's best. We'll give you a topic. You give us your two best examples. We appreciate everybody hanging out. Last thing you can do for us tonight, share this with your friends. Sign up on our YouTube channel if you're not already there. Don't cost nothing. Trying to drive over 500 and support all of our great sponsors. They are fantastic people, and we can't do this without them. We're going to post this on the website. You can share it from there as well, theraiderland.com.